Hi everybody, Chef Casey here with another recipe from the Patwin kitchen here at the beautiful olive mill here in Seca Hills up in Brooks, California. Another stellar piece of meat for you to showcase today. So we're going to be doing a wood duck. I'm going to do it more of a stew, kind of a traditional way that the duck would kind of be presented if there was a feast, if families were coming together. So first off, we're going to kind of sear the duck meat first. I've taken the duck fat off. As you can tell, there's about a 1/4 inch thick piece of fat on top. We're going to kind of compensate that with a little bit of bacon to go in with the meal. But first, let's dice the duck up. We do nice big pieces. We're going to dice just big pieces. Then we're going to actually put in some flour. Now the reason why we put it in flour is to kind of A, dredge it, and B, also to kind of help thicken the stew. So you get your pieces nice and diced. A little bit of flour in there. Season the flour, salt and pepper. Doesn't have to be too much. You can get a lot of salt from your bacon. You don't have to use bacon. Bacon is just an option. You can just use olive oil if you want some fat in there. Kind of sift your flour a little bit, sift the duck, get it nice and coated. We'll kind of let that sit for a little bit. First, we're going to build our stock. We're going to start with a little bit of bacon. I'm going to cook that bacon down first. I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil to it, just to help the process. Just that smoky flavor coming out. While that's cooking, I'm going to cut some leek. I always like to add leek into a lot of my stews, dishes. So while that's cooking, stir it up, trying to get as much fat out of that bacon as you can, because that fat's going to be key in making sure that that duck is nice and tender. I'm going to do a little salt and pepper. While that's sauteing, I'm going to take the time to do a little more prep. I'm going to cut some mushrooms. So another aspect to this dish is also going to have, I'm going to make some dumplings. Now, these aren't going to be just your regular flour-based dumplings. These are going to be almost like a meal ball. Now a meal ball was they would use meal, or they would use walnuts or walnut shells or something they know they could eat that they could dry, and they would kind of just smash them together with something that could adhere to it, and they would dry it out and almost use them as little sustainable balls to eat on journeys and travel with. They would eat it almost like, again, like jerky or like a power bar, something to that nature. So I'm going to make an acorn meal ball dumpling that's going to go into this soup. And as you can see, I'm getting nice fond on the bottom of the pan. And at this point is when I'm going to add my duck. Get the pieces separated, get the duck in there. I'm not going to add too much flour to this because I'm also going to add the meal ball dumplings right to the pot, and the starch from those meal balls should help thicken the stew. So get all your duck in there. At this time, you might need to add a little more fat to it, maybe a little more olive oil. So I'm using Arbequina. It's my go-to oil. Baking, cooking, sauteing, roasting, marinating, finishing. This is by far one of the best oils I've come across. So I'm going to do a little tomato paste. This is also going to help thicken up your stock, give a nice color for the soup. I'm going to add a little bit of stock. Put the stock in there. Let that heat up back to temperature. Let that get thick. It's going to get thick because there's flour on top of that duck. And then you also want to add some red wine. I'm doing our 2013 Toluca. You can add about maybe 2 cups. Bring that back up to temp, get that going again, and then just kind of keep stirring, keep trying to scrape. So while that's going, let's add our mushrooms. I'm gonna cut a little bit of garlic, just kind of get that in there for a little more flavor, a little more aromatic. And this kind of stew can be used with any type of meat. It can be used with, beef, pork, chicken. It can be a veggie stew. So while that's simmering, let's go back and cut some potatoes. We'll just do a quick rough chop. And again, these type of potatoes probably would have been foraged. Get the potato in. Add some carrots. I didn't saute the carrots or the celery because I kind of wanted them to go in raw, because I wanted them to kind of cook in the soup. We have thyme, rosemary, some bay leaf. I'm just going to put them all in whole, and then let's focus on the meal ball dumplings. So let's start with a little bit of acorn flour. These are going to be spoon dumplings. I'm just going to spoon them right into the stock, right into the soup. Do a little matzo meal. Do a little whole wheat flour. Kind of stir that together. It's going to be used with the hands. So I'll crack an egg. You don't want to put a whole egg in there. You kind of want to break the egg up. You could do duck egg, you could do quail eggs, you could do any type of egg. Do a little olive oil. Let me add a little buttermilk to it. You want it to be clumpy, but you don't want it to be super, super wet. Here we go. So you want to be able to mush it. And again, the acorn is dry. The matzo meal is dry. Everything's dry. We'll just do some handheld dumplings. Just big, beautiful dumplings. Really help the soup. Really thicken the soup. And it's just another extra texture, flavor, layer. And this would have to be cooked, covered, 30, 35, 40 minutes, depending on the dumpling. You kind of want to really just a low simmer, just a low ripple of the water. So how I would finish it, put in a nice big bowl. You can smell the wine, you can smell the stock, the duck, the bacon, the potatoes, the herbs, the mushrooms, just everything kind of just works. Make sure to get the dumplings in there. Do some fresh onion. I like my green onions nice and big because they'll soften up in the hot liquid. And there you have it. Wood duck stew, a little acorn, matzo meal dumpling with our Second Hills olive oil. Thank you again for tuning in to another recipe from the Patwin Kitchen. Thank you.